From Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race to Nikki Haley getting the support of a lot of so-called conservatives, but she's really not a conservative. Today we're going to be digging into why I am never Nikki Haley.
Facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
The way that the race is now was bound to happen. This is because we have Nikki Haley, which is funded by mega donors to push war. She is also funded by arms merchants to sell the idea of war. That's why she said, and I quote, "I'm sick of people talking about the Department of Defense. I want a Department of Offense." She also wrote in her book about a priority of the United States and that it will always be, and it always has been, quote unquote, humanitarian assistance, not America first. But we cannot forget who is paying all of these, quote unquote, humanitarian aid bills. It's you, the taxpayer. It's not her that is $34 trillion in the hole. Nikki Haley also believes that all internet posters should be verified and can never have a name that is other than theirs. Also, at the same exact time, we can look at the founding fathers that wrote the Federalist Papers, and we can see that they were also one of these people that Nikki Haley would not have supported because of the fact that they were anonymous. That's appalling. Also, in South Carolina, Nikki Haley advocated for a gas tax hike, a state-run vaccine registry, and never lifted a finger on school choice. She is not a real conservative whatsoever. What she is a puppet for the left, a Trojan horse, we can say, for the left to push their political policies under the disguise of a so-called Republican. Nikki Haley is not a real Republican. Trump 2024, at this point in time, we need to bound together and say Nikki Haley cannot win this election. If Nikki Haley wins this election, it's not going to be good. She's going to push a lot of policies that we the people do not agree with. A lot of policies that even the conservatives do not agree with. So Nikki Haley, no, I will not support you. We're good with you. We had enough of you. Please leave the scene. If it was my choice, I would say that Nikki Haley should have left instead of Ron DeSantis. But you know what? This goes the way that they want it to go. If you were over here voting in the polls, you chose this. That being said, we can only choose the people that we have in front of us right now, and that is Trump 2024. With that being said, let's dig into the media's takes.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
So starting right off with the media's takes, we actually have a Daily Wire article. We have 2 United States Navy SEALs killed while boarding a boat illegally carrying Iranian weapons. The United States military announced on Sunday afternoon that 2 Navy SEALs that went missing nearly 2 weeks ago during a mission off the coast of Africa are not presumed dead. The SEALs were conducting a nighttime interdiction mission on January 11th, where they were climbing onto a vessel where they got knocked off by a powerful ocean wave. Following protocol, the next Navy SEAL jumped onto the water to help rescue them. Quote, "We regret to announce that after a 10-day exhaustive search, our 2 missing United States Navy SEALs have not been located and their status has been changed to deceased," United States Central Command said in a statement. The search and rescue operations of the Navy SEALs reported missing during the boarding of an Elect Dhow carrying Iranian advanced conventional weapons on January 11th. Conducted, and we are now conducting recovery operations. CENTCOM said that the Japan and Spain joined the United States in searching for the 2 SEALs covering more than 21,000 square miles. Additional support was provided by the Fleet Numeral Meteorology and Oceanography Center, the United States Coast Guard Atlantic Area Command, University of San Diego, Scripps Institute of Oceanography, in the Office of Naval Research, Oceanographic Support. General Michel Kurilla, CENTCOM commander, said in a statement, quote, "We mourn the loss of our 2 naval special warfare warriors, and we will forever honor their sacrifice and example. Our prayers are with the SEALs' families, friends, the United States Navy, and the entire special operations community during this time." Yeah, of course. I mean, we can always say, if Trump was president during this time, there would never be a war in the Middle East. There would never be a war in our Africa. There would never be a blatant disregard for all of common sense with the regard of the Afghanistan withdrawal. In Asia, with Taiwan, China would never want to take Taiwan. Because it's just a funny thing. Xi Jinping knows that Trump is powerful. All the world leaders in the world know that Trump is powerful. That's why there was zero wars under Trump. There was zero wars under Trump. Gas prices were at $2.15 a gallon. That's what I used to pay. I used to hand them a 20 for gas. I have a Prius, by the way, so it was only a couple of gallons. And I used to hand him a 20, and then I used to just get, I believe, $4, $5 back. So my whole entire gas for the whole entire week, but mind you, the gas lasted a little bit longer, in my opinion. I mean, if you were to think about it, gas just lasted longer. I don't know if they changed the way that they made gas or we're just getting it at a cheap place. But yeah, I used to pay $2.15 cash price. I used to hand them a 20. And then I used to go on with my day. And then I used to just get some like $4 or so back after filling up my gas. So it was real good. And then now when we have $3.20, $3.30 prices for gas, I mean, obviously now it went down a little bit. So now it's almost at that $3 again, but nowhere near what it used to be. And everybody can say, well, historically, gas has always been higher than the $2.15 and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, you can say that all day long. But Trump still has the credit for it being that low under his watch. Everybody can say whatever they want to about the situation, but it was still under Trump's watch that gas prices were so low. So it does not matter what you guys say. It does not matter whatsoever because he was president during that time. Was he not? He was. So moving into the next article, we actually have a March for Life event happening in Washington, D.C. Legacy Media, and we do have this article from the Daily Wire, by the way. Legacy Media evening and morning shows ignore March for Life. NBC News features a story on pro-abortion high schoolers, which is just disgusting, by the way. None of the Friday evening or Saturday morning shows on ABC, NBC, or CBS covered the 51st annual March for Life in Washington, D.C., which saw tens of thousands of pro-life protesters flood the nation's capital. March for Life organizers estimated that between 50,000 and 100,000 people attended the rally and ensuring march on Friday. But the massive pro-life turnout didn't make it into the evening or morning coverage of some legacy media's most watched news programs. Media watchdog Newsbusters reported, while ignoring the pro-life March for Life, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt reported on how high school girls are making abortion access a priority in their decision on where to go to college. School ranking, academics, tuition costs, all factors in the big decision of picking a college, but for South Carolina high school senior Grace, add the state's abortion laws. NBC News reporter Savannah Sellers began the segment. The high school senior featured in the segment said that she was not comfortable being in the state that doesn't value who I am or value my rights as a person. Sellers said Grace was joining, quote, a growing trend of young women who consider a state's abortion law when deciding a college. Newsbusters reported that ABC News's World News Tonight ran a segment on Biden's student loan forgiveness, and Good Morning America reported on the University of Minnesota's national champion dance team and national use of your gift card day. That's just stupid. Meanwhile, CBS Saturday Morning focused on an interview with Robert Smigel, the voice of Triumph the Insult comic dog. The March for Life featured speakers such as House Speaker Mike Johnson, former NFL tight end Benjamin Watson, Representative Chris Smith, Republican from New Jersey, and focus on the family president and CEO Jim Daly. University of Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, who led his team to a national championship victory earlier in the month, also addressed the crowd at the March Life rally before introducing Watson as the speaker. Thank you all for being here. It's a great example that you are setting, Harbaugh said. It's a testimony to the sanctity of life. And I completely agree. This should be done. We need to show the United States government peacefully and using our First Amendment right that, we're not going to put up with the baby killing that is happening throughout America. It's disgusting. We cannot be killing babies simply because you just changed your mind. It's not like a return policy. Like, oh my God, I have 8 months to return this item. I'm not going to return this item 7 months in. You can't return the item whatsoever once you have the item. It's a buy one and no returns. No returns, okay? You have a baby. You have sex for the baby. That's it. You have the baby. So Nikki Haley is wooing her actual constitutions in New Hampshire, Democrats and neocons. So Haley isn't expanding the GOP tent. She's bringing in leftists who want to infiltrate the Republican primary and destroy the party. Is Nikki Haley a creation of the Washington establishment and its consultant class, a regime-picked candidate being groomed as a possible replacement for Biden? As Tucker Carlson suggested last week, this is actually an article from the Federalist, by the way. Or does she really have broad electoral appeal? The curious argument going around for the latter view is that a surprising number of Democrats and independents say that they are planning to vote for Haley, one in the same anyway, in upcoming primaries. We already saw this last Monday at the Iowa caucuses, where almost half of Haley supporters, 43%, said that they'd vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. In one Iowa precinct, so many Democrats showed up and requested forms to change their party affiliation so they can participate in the caucuses and vote for Haley. They ran out of forms. It's shaping up to be the same story in New Hampshire, which holds its primary on Tuesday. New Hampshire has an open primary, meaning independents or unaffiliated voters who make up 40% of all registered voters in the state can cast ballots in the GOP primary election. Because the Democratic Party isn't holding a primary, and because New Hampshire voters had until October 6th to change party registration, thousands of New Hampshire Democrats have reportedly changed their registration either to unaffiliated or to Republican, and will likely be voting on Tuesday. Who will these non-Republicans be voting for? Nikki Haley, of course. One poll found that among Haley supporters, only 28% were Republicans versus 53% who said that they were Democrats. Another New Hampshire poll this week found that among voters who consider themselves left-leaning or moderate, Haley is beating Trump by 56 to 27%. The same poll also found that a staggering 37% of likely Haley voters say their support for a former United Nations ambassador isn't so much of a vote for Haley but against Trump. Despite all this polling data, the argument among the pro-Haley crowd is that all the crossover primary voting shows how strong she might be in a general election, that she appeals to a broad voter base, and that her moderate views will expand the GOP tent in November. Haley herself has pushed this line, telling a reporter last month, quote, "If we get independents, if we get conservative Democrats, that's what the Republican Party should pursue. Our goal is to get as many people in the tent as we can. Stop pushing people away from the party. Instead, bring them in." Now, you know how she's going to do this? By flipping and flopping on every single issue and seeing exactly how people respond to that. She's going to say something and then she's going to say, well, I actually didn't actually say that. I meant to say this and I didn't say this. I said that. I know a lot of people that actually do this and it's not a good thing. Oh, well, I actually, I know that you're kind of mad about me saying this. Well, I actually didn't say this. I actually said this instead. That's Nikki Haley in a nutshell. Okay, so that's that. But will the new voters she's supposedly bringing in vote Republican in November? Probably not. Indeed, polling suggests that very few of the Democrats planning to vote for Haley next week in New Hampshire would choose her, much less Trump, over Biden in a two-way race. A sizable number of them even admit they're animated by anti-Trump settlement, which means they likely support Democratic policies and primaries, Democratic policies and priorities that aren't coming over to the GOP side so much as infiltrating the Republican Party to skew the results against Trump. What's more, I suspect Democrats are also inclined to support Haley aren't doing so for the same reasons that millions of blue-collar Democrats in the Rust Belt supported Trump in 2016. Back then, Democrat crossover voting in the general election had a lot to do with a very different Trump. Trump was from the other GOP candidates. He took policy positions sharply at odds with the Republican establishment, mercifully criticized his Republican primary opponents, and upended what he appeared to be the GOP leadership consensus on a host of issues, from the border to trade foreign policy. In other words, it was always ways Trump stood in contrast to the Republican establishment and the Democratic Party. For that matter, that attracted so many disaffected Dems and disillusioned independents to his candidacy. It's why people who hadn't voted in a presidential election in 30 years came out to vote for him. It's also why he was able to expand the Republican Party tent by increasing the number of Black and Hispanic voters. In light of all of that, consider whether the same thing has happened with Democrat support for Haley. Is she really bringing disaffected liberals into the GOP, or is she merely an establishment tool to draw out the primary season, sap the Trump campaign of resources it might otherwise devote to general election, and give the appearance of that Republicans aren't really united behind Trump. Biden and the Democrats, after all, would like nothing more than to spin a narrative that there's a sizable cohort of never Trump GOP voters out there yearning for a return of the moderate social views and hawkish neocon foreign policy of the Republican Party before Trump. But there isn't. Just take New Hampshire as an example. If you take away Democrat crossover voters and independents, her support among actual Republicans is too small to take her campaign seriously. On Thursday, Haley tweeted out a montage of Trump praising her when she was serving his administration as United States ambassador, and added the comment, "Why is Donald Trump spending so much money and time and attacking me? Because he knows I'm a threat." Maybe the explanation is simpler than that. Maybe Trump doesn't see Haley as a threat, but as a stalking horse for Democrats, a Trojan horse, like I said at the beginning, who make up most of her base of support. The other part of her base is, of course, the globalist elites whose neocon warmongering Haley constantly champions. The reality of Haley's candidacy is this regard was masterly summed up in a recent column by former Trump official John Alert. Quote, "Unfortunately for Haley this week, her real base of political supporters is 3,798 miles away from New Hampshire in Davos, Switzerland, wheels down in its private jets, attending the annual self-congratulatory World Economic Forum confab of globalist elites." The other big thing to note here is that given the polarization in our politics right now, and given the ideological sorting that's taken place over the last 15 years or so, and especially since 2016, there's a very real sense in which appealing to the one side is a liability, not an asset. Democrats have rushed so far to the left since Obama won the White House in 2008 that there's very few self-identified moderate or conservative Democrats or even independents left. In this context, leftist Democrat support for the GOP candidate isn't exactly something to brag about. It's like the Confederates bragging about Native Americans' war logs being on their side during the Civil War. Endless foreign wars and open borders. If they support your candidacy, maybe you're on the wrong side. The blunt truth is what is the much vented independent vote shrinks every cycle as the parties come into the alignment with their animating ideologies. When Haley talks about appealing to, quote, conservative Democrats, who exactly is she talking about? Those would be Trump supporters who have already been brought into the GOP by Trump himself. What's left are liberals, leftists, and neocons. Haley's actual constituency. Yeah, so the actual people that support Trump, the actual people that support Nikki Haley are neocons, are leftists, are liberals, are people that we do not want in the Republican Party because they're going to ruin it. It's the people that are going to vote for the wrong things on the Republican side of things. It's not good. You're going to turn the Republican Party into the Democratic Party? No, we do not want that at all. So Nikki Haley, you are not going to be my vote in a million years from now. In an alternate reality, I would not vote for you. In an alternate reality, I would not vote for you. Time and time again, I would not vote for Nikki Haley. I will vote for Trump instead. Your vote for Nikki is not a vote for the success and the longevity of the United States. It's not. It's not for the longevity of the Republican Party as we know it. It's instead a vote for the Democratic Party as we know it. If you do like the high gas prices that we're paying, if you do want higher gas taxes on your gas, if you do want all this warmongering, wars all over the place throughout the world, I should say, then vote for Nikki Haley. If you want zero wars, low gas prices, awesome tweets every single day, amazing foreign policy, amazing domestic policy, and just an entertainer all around, vote for Trump. Your vote for Trump is greatly used instead of voting for Haley, which will just use your vote to just appeal to Democrats. It doesn't make much sense here. With that being said, we're going to sum up this episode here. If you did like this episode and you do want to see more, please like and subscribe down below because I do post new episodes of my show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.